friends, welcome to this YouTube channel. Today we're going to be talking about money lessons I wish I knew in my 20s, and this is from a perspective of an African, from a perspective of a Nigerian, from the perspective of a first daughter in a Nigerian context, right? From the perspective of someone who didn't really grow up with so much, from that perspective, right? So these are the things I wish I knew in my 20s, that I kept, in this channel you hear me saying that some of the things I knew about them, but there's just this subtlety when it comes to you being a woman in the African context and Nigerian context, where you are waiting for someone to make a decision for you. You've heard some of these things in passing, especially if you're educated, but you don't act on them. You are just waiting for probably a man to come and make those decisions for you, or to kind of tell you to do it, right? But if I implemented some of these things in my 20s, I'll kind of be in a different place and in a different season right now. So if you're in your 20s and you bumped into this video, these are some of the truths, the real truths about money that I wish someone told me, or I wish that when someone told me, I acted on it. Because there's a difference between advice and decision. I can finish this video and you say, oh, this sounds nice, and you don't take a decision on it. You've heard it, but you didn't do anything. It's not going to profit you, right? And there's also this thing online about people obsessing over, there's kind of information overload, and we're just consuming, and you are not coming back to yourself and saying, okay, based on this thing I just heard now, this is what I would do. So take a decision, right? Not doing things based on what you heard somebody say, but you by yourself using that information and saying, this person has said this person has said this is the third time I'm hearing this. This is now a decision I will arrive at myself, right? So that's something I'm giving as a background to this video. One thing I would say is the power of compounding. One thing with money, and it's called, if you're in the investment space or if you've not heard about it, it's called compounding is called the eighth wonder of the world, which is that if you had 5,000 and you invested it and you made maybe 500 naira, and after your 5,000, if you are reinvesting 5,500, you are going to probably make 1,000 naira. Like, the money, you don't need to start big, no matter. And you've heard it said in different contexts. Someone will tell you, dream big, start small. It's the same thing when it comes to money. Have a good idea of making $1 million or $100 million this year, but you start small. You start saving small. You start investing small. It compounds. The way good habits compound is also the same way money compounds. Start with as little as you have. And there's this thing about, especially when investors, or when you hear people speak, or when you hear guys speak, they call big money. You heard all the money that someone say, even it's on social media. If you're on Instagram, or if you're following some of these finance people, you say if you invested 1 million naira in January, by now it would have been worth this. You be like, okay, I don't even have 1 million. And you kind of do not reconcile the fact that you need to start small. Every big person you know today started from small. And there's this thing about despising small beginnings because of the way social media kind of glamorizes a lot of things, right? If you see my investment accounts and you see 10 million, you will not know that there was a time I stayed with 10,000 naira. I can remember my first investment. I'm not sure. I bumped into a social, I think it's a YouTube ad, one investment app like that. I think I bought Dangote. It was they had few stocks. They didn't have a lot of the stocks. I think it was Dangote, and I bought for 50,000. It was when I was in school. It was when I was doing my masters in Ibadan. I bought for 50,000. I can't remember what happened. Then I changed my phone or something. And then one day I said, oh, this app, what happened to it, sir? I downloaded, so I didn't have the app in my new phone. Then when I reinstalled the app and logged into my account, I saw 100,000. The stock has made 100,000. But trust me, that my 50K, I thought it was a small money. I never saw it as anything. And it's not just investing in stock. There's also the savings bond that you can do with 5,000 naira. The thing with money is not the amount, is who you become investing, is the skill you develop, the discipline, the patience you build investing. Honestly, investing has taught me a lot about myself. about delayed gratification, about greed, about patience, more than anything. Like even when you hear it in church, you most times you say, okay, we will not do that. But while investing, I've learned so much about myself and so much about some of these three things I mentioned. Nothing would have taught me that except from investment. So don't think about the money, think about the skill and who you are going to become investing, what you are going to learn, how you are going to learn about the market. And trust me, it's even good to start with small money than you getting your life savings and then putting it and then you lose it. It's good to even start small and you compound it over time. And that's also the thing. There's no, when it comes to money, forget what you see on social media. There is no, unless you are born, and I have a video on how money works, unless you are born with riches, unless you are born with wealth, the other, or unless someone gifted it to you, right? Some people come across wealth, they are gifted, they get inheritance. Making money is about becoming, right? It's not about like the money essentially. It's about who are you going to become to be able to make this money. That's really what making money is about. So in terms of it, in terms of money lessons, I want you to take away this. There's the power of compounding, the power of starting small and making, and whatever you have invested gains interest, you put it back. And that's what differentiates people. So what happened? You know the story I told you about how I put 50,000 and after a while, I think it was a year, when I logged back into the app, I saw 100K. What did I do with the money? I didn't reinvest. I took out the money and solved my problem. Yeah, there are people like that. But that's the thing with compounding. If I invested back the 100K, what would have happened? Right? So the power of compounding is real. Compounding is like what the small money you have, you put it in, it gains interest, you put it back in, because that's also what tests true investors and those who are not true investors. When they now see the gain, they will quickly remove the money from the market, right? Compound, continue to compound skills, compound habits, compound money, right? So that's the first thing I'm going to tell you. Compounding is the eighth wonder of the world. Number two is your salary shouldn't be only your source of income. I have a video on this channel or something about how the world is changing rapidly and the kind of skills we require in this world. We have moved from internet literacy, knowing how to use internet. Now it's knowing how to use AI. Who knows what else is going to come up again? And with all these things coming up, with all the innovations, it's important to think about job security. Yes, there are people that are working in systems or working in, aspects of life where maybe AI will not readily get there, right, before they retire. But you need to critically sit down and think about it. Are there opportunities where AI will take your job? That's how we phrase this. If AI is going to take your job, if AI is going to be able to replace some of the tasks you are going to be doing, you need to be considering other sources of income. Right? You need to be considering other sources of income. Yes, I haven't been someone who has, I've always had jobs, like once a project is finished, I have another job. But I'm thinking about it critically in 2025 because like the innovation in AI is not even here. Now we're in GPT-5. GPT-5 can search online and find you emails of people to email. Like that's like advancement then. And we're not sure what GPT-6 will look like, right? It can help you assess your website, do SEO. Like the level of the AI is learning faster than humans. I think that's how we put it, right? So you must think about other sources of income. There's also something I talk about in terms of productizing your knowledge. Are there things that you know that can be monetizable? Are there skills you have? If you have accounting skills, if you have communication skills, if you have, writing skills, what skill do you have that you can sell? Right? You convert it into a course, into a program, into a book and sell. Find multiple sources of income. And also when you are thinking of sources of income, when you come into money, you must think about investments can look like different things, can look like real estate, can look like business, can look like a couple of things. You must think about it. Once you have money, the reason why we make money is to make more money. It's not for it to squander it. All the money that comes into you shouldn't leave your income shouldn't leave your account as a expense. It should live as an investment, either into starting a new business, either into investing in real estate, in the capital market, or in things like that, right? Think about it. What are ways to diversify your sources of income? And it's called focus on income producing assets. So if you're thinking of investment, focus on income producing assets. Don't buy liabilities. Depending on where you are, like on your cadre in life, right? There's the poor people, there's the middle income, there's rich, there's wealthy. Depending on where you are in life, a car can be a liability, right? Whatever the maintenance you're going to do with it, the whatever, the servicing, the whole things that comes associated with it. But maybe if you're a bit higher up, it's no longer a liability, it can be an asset, right? A social status, a signaling of social status, or things like that. So you must think about it. You must focus your early. I think it's Grant Cardone and his wife that talks about it. That even before they came on social media and you are seeing private jets, you are seeing houses, the first 15 years of their life, they spent it buying real estate. They have apartment complexes and they collect rent, right? So is that rent they've collected, they will now use it to buy private jet. Why are you following them? Why are you thinking of private jets when you don't have apartment complex? You see the issue, right? They've spent the first 15 years of their life saving their money to do what? Have income producing assets. That income producing asset can now service your luxury, right? Because if you see somebody buying a phone 1 million naira, that's the funny thing. I can't remember also who talks about this. If you invest, example, you use 20 million naira and go to the Omo market, treasury bill, you buy fixed income asset, you make 20%. Let's say that 20% is 2 million naira. I'll now use that 2 million naira and I go to the club and I waste it. My main money is still there. Like, my money is still there. Then you will now come and your income is 2 million. You now come to that same club and waste that money. Do you see the issue with life? The person that is their interest, is the dividends of the original money they are wasting. But you, is your salary you are wasting. You see how comparison is a deadly thing, right? So your salary shouldn't be your only source of income. 3, the dangers of lifestyle inflation. If you are a salaried worker, there's also this thing about when you get a raise, the importance, how it's good for you to kind of upscale your life, change something, change your wardrobe. That is good. Appearance matters. Appearance matters in this life. Everyone is superficial. People are going to judge you based on how you look. You should pay attention to that. But you must also, balance that out, right? Are there excesses I have in my life that is just lifestyle inflation? It's not for anything. It's like, I'm just spending because of people. I am wearing the clothes because somebody showed me. I'm wearing it because I saw it on social media. It doesn't add anything to you, right? Lifestyle inflation. I can remember when I got a huge raise, right? And I don't know, it really took God for me to I've been praying about moving houses for like years. I was staying in a place that wasn't conducive at all. It wasn't good, right? That raise would have been an opportunity for me to just quickly move houses. But I disciplined myself to kind of delay that gratification for like a couple of months so that we'll invest that money, right? Invest the excess of and I lived within my means. I lived like I was still earning the previous amount before I got the raise for a long period of time, right? Before I was now able to upgrade the house, so that it didn't really feel like I made any expense, right? So pay attention to lifestyle inflation. Don't do things because people are doing it. You are not sure of how they are. People we compare ourselves based on our expenses, right? But we don't compare ourselves based on money habits. I would have bought a camera for my YouTube for 1 million naira, but you're not sure of how I'm able to buy that. You're only comparing the camera. You're only comparing per expenses. You are not sure, and people wouldn't genuinely tell you how they're able to afford what they bought. So you don't know people's money habits. Don't compare expenses. Don't compare what you see people holding on to, right? What you see people having. Budgeting is something I make myself do every month, right? Budgeting is freedom, it's not restriction. It shows you who you are. It helps you discipline yourself, right? So must learn budgeting, whether you're going to budget with a tool, with Excel, with a book. When I start my budgeting, writing it down on the book. I have like a table that is in budgeting, right? From that, you can transfer to Excel, to tools. And so number 5, I would say, is your network. Your network matters, right? It's just more than your salary, because when you remove it's not just about the salary you earn as an income. There's your debt, if you have a current debt. There's your things you need to invest in. There's black tax, there's expenses. If you take away all those things, what's remaining for you? What have you striven for? What is the balance, right? So your network matters, your net worth, so what you are worth matters more than your income. So that's something I would like to say. Once a year, take a snapshot of like, what do you have remain as a balance when you look at your investments, your savings, your things you are saving up for your future goals, your emergency savings. Just look at it critically and see if you are where you're supposed to be. I think this is a key money lesson. It's not just about what's coming in, it's what you are doing about what's coming in and multiplying it. Remember, we make money so that we use the money we've made to make more money, right? It's how you've multiplied all that money that have come in. Salary earners, there's this thing about like you're exchanging your time for money, but it's also to think about that. So what is your time worth? After all your expenses, you've worked for a full year, what do you have remaining? You should pay attention to that, right? Because it will help you think strategically. So I want to hear from you. What's one lesson you wish you knew in your 20s, if you're currently in your 30s, or something you just figured out that you think that, everyone should kind of learn about? And I see you in the next video.